right, so today we'll be discussing marketing to high net worth individuals for apartment syndication. So, like I said, my name is Melissa Broom. For those of you who just joined, I am the director of marketing for PassiveInvesting.com. I'm really excited to talk about this today. I live and breathe marketing, so I look forward to sharing some insights with you. As you guys have questions, drop them in the chat box or the Q&A box. The chat box is probably easier for me to manage, but either way is fine. And feel free to stop me with questions. This can be an interactive webinar. If you've got questions or comments, feel free to share in the chat section. So to get started, so what is marketing? So marketing is the process of communicating the value of a product or service to its potential customers. So that's sort of like your book definition. It involves understanding your target audience, identifying their needs and preferences, and crafting messages and strategies to attract and retain their attention. And so in apartment syndication, marketing goes beyond simply, advertising units. And, once you're in advertising the properties, basically, it's about building relationships, establishing trust, and showcasing the unique benefits and opportunities that your syndication group offers to potential investors or high net worth individuals. So that's marketing in a nutshell. If you have any questions about that, it's a pretty standard definition. And I wanted to make sure we covered that if there's anybody new here. So what should your brand look like as an apartment syndicator? So branding is super important. It's something that I take a lot of pride in at PassiveInvesting.com, as well as some of our other brands that we represent and that we have under our umbrella in our company. So your brand is more than just a logo or a tagline. It's the essence of your business and the perception that others have of it. As an apartment syndicator, your brand should convey professionalism, expertise, and integrity. Some things to consider are your visual identity. This includes your logos, your colors, your typography, and your overall design aesthetic. So it's really important to be consistent across your brand. So consistency builds trust. So you want to make sure that when you're sending emails or posting on social media, which we'll get into some of that later, that everything is consistent using the same logo and colors and theme overall. So messaging is another important aspect of that. It should be clear and concise and tailored to resonate with high net worth individuals. Highlight the value proposition of your syndication, focusing on factors like potential returns, risk mitigation strategies, and the overall investment opportunity. You want to make sure you have an online presence. It's obviously in today's world, your online presence plays a crucial role in shaping your brand and your image. Making sure your website is professional, user-friendly, optimized for search engines, etc. And making sure that you're utilizing social media platforms to engage with your audience and share valuable content related to your business and apartment syndication and real estate investing overall. Making sure that you're active on, keeping your website up to date, social media channels, all of that stuff. It can be timely, but it's super important because when someone hears about your group and they go, okay, let me look up PassiveInvesting.com online, you want there to be a footprint so they don't think it's a scam or don't think it's you're not a real company. So really establishing that, and it takes time. So it's not going to happen overnight. As you we'll get into some of these strategies in just a minute, but as you grow and scale your business, the more you'll have that footprint. So you have to start somewhere. So, create that Instagram account, create that LinkedIn account, and start posting, start being active. Use your personal accounts. That's super important as well. Your personal brand. There's a lot of value in your personal brand, and it would be looking at PassiveInvesting.com for one Google search, and then also Dan Handford, who's our managing partner. So that's the first thing people do when they are looking at it in any business. That's the first thing people typically do when your friend says, hey, go check them out. What do? You Google it. You go on Facebook, look for their Facebook page or their LinkedIn page. So it's super important to make sure that you have a really strong online presence. Does anybody have any questions about anything I've spoken about so far, before I jump into the 7 strategies of marketing to high net worth individuals? I'll give everyone just a second. I'm gonna get a sip of water. Great. All right. So let's dive into the 7 strategies of marketing to high net worth individuals. So I'm going to start by saying there's lots of strategies. There's a lot of things you can do. I've narrowed it down to these 7, and we can discuss some of these in some detail as well. So the first one is targeted advertising. So leveraging targeted advertising channels such as LinkedIn or any sort of publication, industry specific forums is super important. So we'll dive into digital platforms. There's LinkedIn, Google ads, Facebook ads, which is also Instagram, if you will, Meta. It's all connected. So typically if you're setting up a Facebook ad, you have the option to select to advertise through Instagram as well, if you didn't already know that. But yeah, these platforms offer really great like targeting options, allowing you to reach individuals based on factors like income level, occupation, investment interests. So if you're trying to reach, family physicians, and that's your target, you're really trying to, connect with family physicians, you can specifically target to people who have their occupation listed as a family physician. So there is a lot of things you can do within the ads on the back end of those ad platforms. Another thing you can do is advertise in financial publications that cater to high net worth individuals, such as like the Wall Street Journal or Forbes. There's other publications out there that they can be costly, but if it's something that you've got to invest in to get your name out there to build that reputation, these types of publications have a captive audience of affluent readers. So making sure do your research. I'm sure there's a lot of them out there. I'm not going to sit here and recommend one or the other, but do your research, and advertising in these for these is great. No, I'm not using any slides. I'm just talking. So we'll post this recording on YouTube. So if I went too fast or you missed something, you'll be able to watch the recording. All right. So another way you can connect with high net worth individuals is industry specific forums. So this is going to be like your Bigger Pockets, for example, and like meetup groups, online communities where you can, like Facebook groups, places where people are talking about apartment syndication or real estate investing in general. Making sure you can be active on these, and that doesn't always take paid advertising. It's simply commenting on people's posts, like getting your name out there, participating in discussions, and making sure that you're building those relationships through these forums. All right, so on to the next one is content marketing. So you want to create valuable content such as blog posts, white papers, case studies, and videos, podcasts that educate and informs potential investors about the benefits of apartment syndication, and also the opportunities that they would have with your apartment syndication group. So a lot of that education can be about general topics, but then also more specific to you and what you guys offer. So ebooks, guides, video tutorials that provide insights to apartment syndication. You want to be really the trusted source of knowledge. So we've got a YouTube channel, we've got podcasts. There's a lot of different ways, blog posts that you can make this happen. Case studies. So showing, if you've got any full cycle deals, if you've got, actual real life examples to share with your audience, you're going to want to use those. Go to your apartment complex that you're purchasing, that you're currently raising for, and shoot some video and be there on site and show that you're walking the units, and record that and post it on YouTube and say, hey, our tour went great, and really sharing with giving those potential investors that feeling of, hey, I've seen it, I've watched this operator walk through the units and share their insights, and it really shows that due diligence that's expected. And then let's see. So also, having a blog portion on your website. If you're not much of a writer, there's a lot of opportunities. There's ghostwriters. There's a lot of ways you can get help with writing. AI is one of them. So don't be afraid to write an article. I think it's intimidating for a lot of people. It brings them back to their, middle school days where you had to sit down and handwrite a paper. It's not what this is. Hopefully you're really passionate about apartment syndication, and it should be easy to sit down and write about a certain topic, sharing, hey, I'm going to write a market report about Charleston, do your research, write about Charleston, South Carolina, put together bullet points, start there. I mean, there's blog posts don't have to be 1,000,000 words. It can be a clean and concise 500 to 1,000 word article that really delivers a strong message. So don't be afraid to write articles. Don't be afraid to record videos. Really put yourself out there. I think it takes you a long way in this industry. All right. Any questions about those first two? I think we'll keep going here. So number 3, networking. So we all know the importance of building relationships with other industry experts and professionals. Attending industry events and networking groups and engaging in conversations with all kinds of people is very important. There's so many real estate conferences. We host some. There's Joe Fairless's group. There are conferences all over. Make sure that you're present at those. There's a lot of value to just being in the room, hearing the latest and greatest. I think that's, there's something to say for even just being there. So you don't have to sponsor, you don't have to spend a lot of money. You don't even need to be VIP or, whatever they call it, all the levels of tiers, but being in the room and showing your face, and networking and meeting new people, making connections. Another strategy is joining different professional associations. So, and this might be unique to who you are. If you are a chiropractor, join a group for chiropractors in your area. If you're an alumni, University of South Carolina alumni, find the alumni group in your area from your university and go network and go join. There's the platform called Meetup, so that's a great way as well to find people with common interests as you. And actually go, and the days of COVID are past. I know there's a lot of things still going around, but we don't discredit just going to a happy hour that a group is hosting, or there's local BNI groups. There's all kinds of ways to connect with people in your community and also around the country that have common interests as you. So be sure to look into those and seek those opportunities when they come up. And in addition to in person, also joining the online presence. So if you're going to join a local chiropractor group, make sure you join their online presence, whether it be their Facebook group or if they've got their own website, channel, forum. You want to make sure you're involved all around with them. So number 4, so personalized communication. You're going to want to tailor your communication outreach efforts to the specific needs and preferences of high net worth individuals. So demonstrate your understanding of their goals and concerns, and highlight how your syndication or your group can help them achieve their investment objectives. So part of this communication is one-on-one meetings. So you want to make sure that you've got a great funnel set up on your website. So the way we do things is someone goes to our website, they look around, and they want to learn more. So they fill out our form. From there, they'll be taken to schedule a one-on-one meeting with our investor relations team. So those one-on-one meetings are key, and making sure that a potential investor can get from the point of looking you up to the calendar to schedule that meeting. is super important. So you want to make sure all your systems are in place. There's some great CRM tools out there. HubSpot, ActiveCampaign. If you're not sure what the acronym CRM is, that's those are your MailChimp, HubSpot, Salesforce. So there's a ton out there. Should we go high levels, another one, or high level? So be sure to do your research and make sure you have a CRM in place so you can schedule those meetings and track those meetings. And then if somebody doesn't schedule a one-on-one meeting, but they've filled out your form, making sure you're following up and trying to get that one-on-one meeting with that potential investor. In addition to communications, is you want to make sure that your offering memorandums are customized. So this is something I take a lot of pride in. Developing customized investment offering memorandums and presentations for high net worth individuals, highlighting the unique features and benefits of your specific syndication, addressing their concerns and objections proactively, providing detailed information on projected returns, investment timelines, and risk mitigation strategies. And this will instill confidence and trust. Having a clean offering memorandum when you do, have a deal to share with potential investors, it goes a long way. It shows that you are professional and know what you're doing. I think it says a lot if you've got a clean and well presented offering for investors. And then following up and engagement. So you want to maintain regular communication and follow up with potential investors throughout the entire process, providing updates, answering questions, and addressing any concerns or issues promptly. Personalized engagement and attentive service are key to fostering long-term relationships and loyalty among investors. So another thing we take pride in is we call it our white glove service. So our investor services team really tries to be very diligent with how they interact with potential investors and our current investors. So just really, really having that level of respect with communications goes a long way. All right. Any other questions? Any more questions about anything I've covered so far? One question came through. Are you using any AI platform for capital raising and marketing, such as Invest First, et cetera? Any specific AI applications? Yeah, I figured someone would ask about AI. So no, we are not using any AI platforms for capital raising and marketing. I do use ChatGPT occasionally for, give me 10 webinar titles that have to do with marketing, and then I can go and pick the fanciest, the one I like, right? So we don't use it. I find that, so I can tell when someone is using AI on me. I am also skilled in marketing, so not everybody's going to be able to tell that AI is being involved. I don't know how to explain that. I try not to overuse it, is kind of what I'm saying, because it can make you seem fake. But do use it, but use it strategically is my advice. But no, we are not using any specific programs because I don't think it can replace like the human brain. I think it can help, and it should be something that you use as a resource, but not the be all end all. And I don't know much about any AI platforms for capital raising, but I'm curious to look into those. So that's my answer for AI. But don't be afraid of it. It's always good to keep up with the times and like what's happening and staying involved with trends. But AI can't replace human interaction. So that's my advice there. All right, if there's no other questions so far, let's move on. So number 5, thought leadership. So position yourself as a thought leader in the apartment syndication space by sharing your expertise through speaking engagements, webinars, podcasts, guest contributions to industry publications, etc. Establishing yourself as a trusted authority can attract high net worth individuals who are seeking guidance and expertise. So speaking engagements. So you really want to as you start to grow in your business, you want to make sure that you try to get on stage, try to, whether it be on a panel or in a breakout room. It doesn't have to, you don't have to be the main speaker at an event, but really getting on stage. And, you may have an audience of 10 people, but if all of those 10 people are, high net worth accredited investors, that's a great room to be in, right? It's not necessarily always about quantity as it is quality. Our director of investor relations just went to an event recently where he had 2 breakout sessions where he was speaking, and he said his feedback was, there wasn't a lot of people in the room, but it was a really engaged audience, and he really got to have some good conversation with them. And I call that a win. It doesn't, getting in those rooms in front of the right 5 to 10 people is a win in my book, as well as the big stage. As the big stage is great too, but not everybody's a Dan Handford. So, who gets on stage and can captivate and, with this big portfolio and can captivate this big audience. Any stage is great, and being that thought leader in the space. So you want to also guest contributions. So being interviewed by not hosting your own podcast, but being on a podcast or webinar series hosted by another group. One thing to remember is it doesn't always have to be a syndication podcast. You can find high net worth individuals listen to all kinds of podcasts. So it might be a podcast around entrepreneurship, right? Getting on that podcast and speaking to what is also very valuable. It's just as valuable as being on, the apartment syndication podcast that we all know. And then educational content. So starting a YouTube channel, starting a blog, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but you want to offer workshops or masterminds. You want to really position yourself as a valuable resource to help educate potential investors. You want to make sure you're catering that education to your specific audience. So if your goal is passive investors, who are dentists, for example, you want to take that targeted audience and craft your messaging in a way that they're going to understand. That's really important, as well as making sure that you're educating them in a way that they're going to understand. So strategic partnerships is another is number 6 here. So you want to collaborate with other industry professionals and organizations within the space, the real estate investing space. Consider partnering with, self-directed IRA groups or property management groups or firms, investment groups. Make sure you're really leveraging those partnerships, and that can be in the form of sponsoring their event or letting them come on. If you've got a webinar series, like having them, it's a mutual relationship, right? So you promote them, they promote you, and everybody's happy. So making sure you really do your research and partner with groups that have a good reputation is key as well. And then the last one I wanted to talk about is referrals. So referrals are a huge part of this business. Satisfied investors are going to refer their friends and family members to your group, to your syndication. You want to offer incentives for referrals as well. Making sure that your current investors know that we're gonna, and that's gonna vary based on what each group has to offer, but really incentivizing those referrals is important. One thing that we do, one strategy we have is, so every month we send a newsletter out to all of our investors. We've got about just over 3,000 addresses in our system that receive this newsletter. And about twice a year, what we do is we send 2 copies of that newsletter. One is shrink wrapped or in plastic with a sticker on the front that says, hey, please share, hey, investor, please share this extra copy of our newsletter with one of your friends or family members or colleagues. So we do that about twice a year, and we've seen some great traction there. Really giving the investor an opportunity to share something tangible with their community. And then also testimonials. So once you go full cycle, or you've got some investors that continue to invest, reach out to them and say, hey, I'd love to feature you on our blog this month on what you really like about, passive investing in general, or it could be something specific to multifamily, or it could be something specific. Don't be afraid to reach out to happy investors and say, hey, I'd love to get use your feedback and your and you don't necessarily always have to use like their real identity. So in that newsletter, for example, every month we have an investor spotlight where we interview a happy investor. And there's been times where we just put their first name. We do Mark M, right? And that's just Mark M. And that Mark isn't being completely, all of his personal information isn't being shared, but he can still tell his story. So don't be afraid to reach out to those investors and give them the option of staying sort of incognito, if you will, but still being able to share their experience. All right, do we have any other questions before I wrap things up for today? Yeah, no slide deck for me. I typically just like to get up here and talk. So we will be sharing the recording as well. Can you provide examples of what your referral incentives? Is it money or a gift? So I'm not exactly sure. That's a good question for our investor relations team. I'm not sure what it is today. I know we were offering money at one point as a referral, but I'm not sure what the amount is and what it is today. So if you have questions about that referral incentive, send an email to investorrelations@passiveinvesting.com. And someone there will be able to help you. I don't want to misspeak. Am I going to be in Houston on February 17th? No, I am not. I will possibly be at Best Ever Conference. But as of right now, no concrete plans for anything right now. Our investor relations team may be there. I would have to check with them. Again, if you've got questions that are more investor relations related, that email address, investorrelations@passiveinvesting.com, they can help you. All right. Does anybody else have any other questions? Anything related to marketing or anything I can answer, even if it's something I didn't cover today? I'm just getting started. What's your advice? I like that one. So I can only speak from a marketing perspective, so I will start with that. So there's all other aspects of this business, but for marketing, I think it's really important, and we talked about it earlier, is to establish your brand. And even if you don't have any deals right now, if you're really early in the game, get yourself a logo, go on, you could use, there's so many online platforms where you can get a logo. Get a logo, get a brand, get a website, get that online presence set up, start publishing, start somewhere it depends on what you like. So if you like to write, start your blog, right? First, if you're someone who's really comfortable on camera, start your YouTube channel and get started. You have to build that online presence, because like I said, the first thing people do is they Google you. They're going to Google you, your name, and also the company that they're looking for. So you don't want them to Google and not find anything. It's actually happened to me multiple times when we've got podcast guests or something, and I go to pull like a headshot and they have nothing online. I'm like, how have you been successful with no online presence? So that's my advice, but feel free to my email is melissa@passiveinvesting.com as well. If you guys have any other specific questions, or if I didn't answer anything, I'm happy to email further. Another question came through: are you partnering with another investors as a co-GP on their deals? So our group, we do not co-GP with other groups, but we do have co-GPs who partner with us. So I'm not exactly sure what you're asking about. So the answer would be no, but we do accept co-GPs on our deals. And that's another question for our Director of Investor Relations. Do you get more traction from ads and publications or published articles? So if it was a one or the other, published article or an ad in a publication, I would recommend going with the published article. Anytime you can provide value, is going to be my advice. That doesn't mean that you that doesn't mean that you cannot provide value in an ad. But if it was a one or the other, you're going to get a lot more. I think you'll get a lot more traction from the actual article, because it creates that conversation, right? And then at the end of the article, you say, here's how you can reach out to me. Let's further this discussion. You want to get that one-on-one meeting with the person reading the article, and I think you've got a better chance of doing that with a more detailed article versus just like an ad in a publication. What publications do you guys like to write in, such as Golf Magazine, etc.? I'm trying to, so Whitney is our Director of Investor Education. She does a lot for Bigger Pockets and a few others. We haven't done any this year so far with any outside of the industry of real estate investing publications, but there's a lot of great ones out there. So just do your research. When you're shopping these, make sure when you're reaching out to the publication, you want to ask for who their target audience is, how many eyes are going to be on that publication. There's a few key metrics that you want to ask about when you do go down this route of looking for third-party publications to be in. So make sure you do your research and that you're not getting, you're not going to waste your time by doing. And a lot of times you can repurpose articles as well. So, if you got, one article, it could potentially be in multiple publications that would be reaching different audiences. So that's the beauty of getting that content created, and then you can distribute as you see fit. All right. What other questions do we have here? If there's nothing else, so next week, Dan Handford will be on, and he'll be discussing key principal / sponsor versus loan guarantor for apartment syndication. He's, super knowledgeable in this topic, and make sure that you go ahead and register. And if there are no other questions, I will sign off. Like I said, if you want to reach out to me, if something comes up later, you want to ask me a question, my email is Melissa, MELISSA @passiveinvesting.com. I appreciate everyone being here today, and have a great rest of your week.